He cries after sex. What a pathetic loser. My girlfriend laughed, mocking me in front of coworkers. I stayed silent and walked away. Years later, I saw her again and said just 2 words. She fell to her knees and cried, "No, this can't be. I just cannot pretend anymore," my girlfriend said, standing up with a glass of wine in her hand. He is sweet, but he cries afterwards. Like every time. A laugh like a match thrown on dry grass. First, a few snickers from her coworkers, then full-blown laughter around the table. One guy even clapped. "Emily," I murmured, my eyes fixed on the flickering candle in front of me, hoping maybe it could burn a hole in the floor and swallow me whole. "Oh, come on," she laughed, tossing her highlighted hair over her shoulder. "I mean, he's been out of work for 4 months. He still says he's between opportunities." She made air quotes, mocking. "And the Xanax prescription, honey. Maybe you shouldn't leave it in the medicine cabinet if you want to keep it a secret." Her friend Melissa choked on her drink. "Girl, you are savage." Emily winked at her boss. Her boss, who was watching with that smug little smile HR people get when they think they're witnessing real personality. And my fork never made it to my mouth. Silence. Not a single word. I didn't scream. I didn't call her a liar. I didn't mention how she begged me to stay home and clear my head after the layoff. How she said, "It's okay, I'll cover the rent. You covered me when I was finishing grad school, remember?" Or how she cried when I said I didn't want to go that night. That I had a bad feeling. That I stood up, buttoned my jacket, and left before dessert. No one followed. Hell, no one even noticed. And maybe that's when it all clicked. The whole time I thought I was the quiet one in the room. But silence isn't weakness. It's patience weaponized. People think the most dangerous guy in the room is the one who yells. No. It's the one who listens, watches, waits. I walked 5 blocks to the train station with my face frozen. Not in rage, not in shame, in calculation. Have you ever heard your own heartbeat in your ears but still appeared calm? That was me. By midnight, my phone was off. By dawn, I was gone. No goodbyes. No closure. Only one thing missing from the drawer. A folded picture of my mom and me at a Mets game. Taped at the corners, creased from years of moves. The rest left behind like dead skin. A woman once asked me, "How do you recover from something like that?" You don't recover. You transform. Because when someone burns your name to make a joke, they expect smoke, not silence. And silence, real silence, scares them more. I didn't slam the door on my way out. I locked it gently. Checked it twice like I always did. Left the keys on the kitchen table next to a half-used roll of paper towels and a fruit bowl no one would eat. There was no note. No last word. The hallway light flickered once as I left. It's strange, the details you remember when your world is ending but you're still polite enough not to wake the neighbors. Inside my backpack. Passport, bank token, USB drive, and that photo of mom and me. That's it. I disappeared. Phone wiped. Social media deleted. Lease terminated. 3 days later, my landlord found nothing but the hum of the refrigerator and the faint smell of cologne in the closet. Tea wasn't a breakdown. It was a launch. People mistake retreat for surrender. But when you're cornered, disappearing isn't giving up. It's stepping back far enough to see the blueprint. Somewhere between the train ride out of the city and the layover in Denver, I stopped being a victim. I started drawing plans. No one knew where I went because I didn't go anywhere. Not in the conventional sense. I floated. Cheap motels. Cash only. I watched people. Took notes. Spoke only when I had to. Meanwhile, she kept posting. Making her little comedy skits. My ex vanished after I publicly humiliated him. One caption read, with a fake crying emoji and 2.3 million views, "She wasn't wrong. I had vanished." But humiliation wasn't the final blow. It was just the fuse. In a rental cabin in Maine, I read a book on systems design. And I thought, what if grief could be automated into fuel? What if I built something no one could trace to me but everyone had to respect? That was the night I gave it a name. 2 words. Not catchy. Not marketable. But simple, honest, immutable, and most importantly, faceless. Because the moment you disappear, you stop being you in their story. You become something they can't define. And fear, real fear, lives in the unknown. Her viral clip spread. He cries after sex. Edited perfectly, subtitles bold, a ding sound effect every time the crowd laughed. Her bio changed. High voltage savage honesty equals free therapy. She became the internet's darling. Queen behavior. Some men just can't handle a joke. But fame has an echo. And hers was getting louder until it started to crack. Her coworker Kyle asked, "Are you sure you're okay with all this?" He looked really broken in that clip. She laughed. "Kyle, it's called content." But then came the emails. Sponsorships pulled. Podcasts canceled. HR meetings about creating a hostile environment. She rolled her eyes. I made a joke. But behind the scenes, the silence around her started to grow teeth. Because while she was building an audience, I was building a structure. While she was chasing likes, I was building 2 words. A faceless venture fund. Quiet money. Precision. When her startup launched years later, she was polished professional, the image of reform. Until one email destroyed her world. After internal review, we've decided to withdraw. 2 words. Best of luck. She Googled it. 2 words ventures. Black site. No team. No bios. Found it exactly 2 weeks after her viral clip. Every company that rejected her funded by us. When we finally met again at a tech convention, she walked into the private meeting room smiling. And then she froze. Eli. Her voice cracked. How did you do it? I didn't gloat. I didn't smirk. I just said it. 2 words. She collapsed. Every deal lost, every sponsor gone, every door closed. She understood in that moment that IT wasn't random. It was design. She looked up, trembling. You? Don't bother pitching, I said quietly. You've already made your presentation. I left. 2 words. Her father, Arthur Hammond. Her mentor. Her first investor. The man who stopped funding her after that dinner. He hadn't abandoned her. He'd chosen me. He built 2 words with me. The same man who had smiled at me across the table that night and said nothing. Now he was my first backer. In his journal he wrote, Emily always chased applause. Eli builds foundations. I'll die knowing I backed the right one. That was the truth. The final cut. She built a brand. I built an empire. And when the internet finally turned on her, when her startup collapsed and her friends went silent, I didn't post a single word. I didn't need to, because revenge isn't noise. It's architecture. And silence, when built correctly, echoes louder than applause.